Hey, Merry Christmas, friends. Hey, I get excited about this time of year, not only just anticipating what's happening with Christmas, but reflecting on this past year. What God has been doing in my life personally, and what He is doing in this ministry of K-Life. And many of you know I've been a part of this ministry for 4.5 years since the very beginning, and some of you have been a part of it with me from the beginning, and others of you maybe just in the last couple of months. But I get the same question every year, and it's this. Hey Dustin, how long you think you're going to do K-Life? Hey, what's next for you, man? And I don't like looking at it through that context. I don't like asking it that way. I prefer to ask the question, why? Why do I continue doing this? Why do I continue being a part of what God is doing within K-Life? And this is what I get excited about telling you about, and what God has been up to this past year. And when I think about this past year, it's 2 words. And the first word is growth. And simply put, there's been more people involved with K-Life this year than in any year past. There are more kids involved in small groups. And God has grown our community of leaders to be bigger than it's ever been. And between our 20 plus leaders and me and Addie, there has been over 5,000 hours spent hanging out with your kids and your kids' friends. And I don't know about y'all, but that just makes me want to take a nap. That makes me tired thinking about all those hours and everything that's been done. But more importantly, I love knowing how those hours have been spent. And this leads me to the second word, and it's depth. You know, growth can be measured, but depth is kind of hard to measure. And what I mean by depth is relationships, the depth of relationships that exist in this ministry and what God is doing. And it's hard to measure that, but what I can do is give you snapshots of what's happened and what God's doing. And so here's a short list. This time last year, there was a 7th grader that didn't even own a Bible. He got plugged into a small group, and his small group leader gave him a Bible. And he comes so amped up to small group reading and telling people about what he's been reading in it. And I've never seen a 14-year-old so engaged about talking about God's Word. This semester there was a girl that was going to a mother-daughter type event, and her mom couldn't do it last minute, so she asked her small group leader to fill in and play that role. There's a group of 7th grade girls that just went and hung out with their small group leader at her apartment, just had a slumber party, making some fun memories. 2 days ago, I actually had lunch with one of our K-Life leaders, and I asked him, hey, where do you see God moving in K-Life? And he immediately referenced his small group. And he said that in years past, or even as recent as months past, guys would finish up small group, close their Bibles, and jet out the door. And now, as they're wrapping up and praying, he's hearing comments like, wow, I never knew we could have conversations like this about the Bible. I didn't know that this stuff actually related to my life. And so they're seeing their life and what God's saying, and it's beginning to intersect and deepen their relationship with their leader and deepen their faith too. I hear you parents talking about how important you want the roots of their faith to dig down deep. And I believe that K-Life is being another voice of truth in your kids' life and your kids' friends' life that's deepening these roots and making them thicker. And you know, we actually went into a little bit more detail about what's happened this past year in this letter right here that our board sent out last week. And we'd love for you to take a couple minutes and read that. We actually attached a copy of it in this email, and would love for you to read that. And if you have enjoyed hearing what God is doing, and if you read that letter and enjoy hearing what God is doing in this ministry, we ask you to give. We ask you to give, and we know that many of you are a part of this ministry and have given in the past, and we're so appreciative of that. But you know, those 2 words are why I get excited about continuing to be a part of K-Life in 2013. The growth that we're seeing in the depth of relationships and the deepening of kids' faith. And so I celebrate that, and I hope you celebrate that with me during this season, and give thanks to God for what He's doing in this ministry. I feel privileged to be on the front lines to be a part of it. So thanks for being a part of it with us, and I wish you and your family Merry Christmas from K-Life, and we'll see you in 2013.